and welcome to the Regional Chamber's annual Good Morning Boardman program. I'm Kim Calvert, Vice President of Marketing and Member Services, and it's so wonderful to see all of you today. We're excited to be here celebrating not only the Boardman community, but this fabulous soon-to-open bunker at Southern Park. If you attended our last Good Morning Boardman event, which was in the fall of 2019, you may recall that it was also held right here at the Southern Park Mall. We sat in the concourse of Chick-fil-A and heard a great presentation about some of the changes that would be coming to this legacy shopping center in the Valley. And 2 years later, it's truly amazing to see all of these plans coming to fruition. A little later in our program, we're going to hear from the bunker's president, Jonah Carsmer, and ensure that all of you golf pros in the room have some time to try out the simulators and that everyone can take a look around, because it's truly an amazing facility. We're also glad to welcome back for their annual updates, Boardman Township trustee Larry Moliterno, Planning and Zoning Director Krista Beniston, and School Superintendent Tim Saxton. But first, I'd like to kick off our program by welcoming and thanking our sponsors, to whom we are so grateful for their support of our organization, Boardman Township, and our entire Valley. We can only continue our work and mission and hold programs like today's because of them. First National Bank is a longtime friend of the Regional Chamber and has sponsored many of our events over the years. This one in particular for nearly 10 years. And undoubtedly, that is because of our first speaker's commitment to and love of the Boardman community. Please welcome for remarks, Pete Asimakopoulos, Executive Vice President, Small Business Banking and Youngstown Market President.
Thank you, Kim. Good morning, everyone. Great to be with all of you. On behalf of First National Bank and FNB Corporation, it is our privilege to once again sponsor Good Morning Boardman. Boardman is an important market for First National Bank. We have two branches in the township, one on 224 across from Best Buy, and the other one we opened about 9 years ago on Tippecanoe Road. Being one of the largest townships in Ohio, as Boardman succeeds and grows, so does the entire region and business community. As many of you, I've lived here my entire life, and I believe a successful community doesn't happen overnight. It evolves. It evolves through an excellent school system, a strong fire department, a dedicated police force, a meaningful recreation area, and of course, thoughtful government leadership. Boardman has all of these. We have great leadership in our trustees, our fiscal officer, and our administrator. These gentlemen and their staff have done a fabulous job of guiding the township through significant growth and some challenging times. First National is proud to have a relationship with the Boardman Township. Our strong relationships with our customers in the Valley and across our footprint, in addition to our technical capabilities, proved critical over the past 20 months in our efforts to save businesses and thousands of jobs impacted by the pandemic through 2 rounds of the SBA's payroll protection program. FNB employees worked tirelessly to facilitate tens of thousands of PPP applications, in addition to taking proactive steps to make sure our customers and our communities had the financial resources and the support they needed to navigate through the crisis. I'm proud to say that we were recognized by Greenwich & Associates as one of only 10 standout commercial banks in the country amid the crisis, and we were singled out by Forbes as the only bank on a list of 10 companies putting people above profits during COVID-19. We hope we have made a difference in the Boardman community. As we close out the year and move it into 2022, my colleagues and I look forward with each of you to explore different ways to make it a better place in the Valley. On behalf of First National Bank, I want to thank Guy and Kim and the entire staff of the Warren Regional Chamber for the opportunity to sponsor this morning's breakfast. I want to thank Washington Prime and Brian Gabbert for honoring the DeBartno family legacy, as well as their commitment to improve Boardman's retail environment. And congratulations to Jonah Carsmer for this great facility, and we wish him many years of success here. Most of all, I want to thank all of you for your commitment, your leadership, and your dedication that has helped Boardman remain a strong, viable community. Thank you again and enjoy the program.
Thank you again, Pete, and to the entire FMB team for all of your effort in and support of our community, and congratulations on your accolades. We appreciate your being here today. I would also like to thank and recognize a first-time sponsor of Good Morning Boardman. T-Mobile joined our organization just a few months ago and quickly decided they want to be part of our events. And we're so glad that they chose this as their first. Let's welcome Account Executive Brian Evener to tell us a little more about the business.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Brian Evener, and I'm with the events and marketing team with T-Mobile. First and foremost, we just wanted to tell you all thank you so much for this opportunity. It's truly a pleasure to be here with you all. We're very excited to let you know why T-Mobile is America's #1 choice in wireless. Over the past several years, we have invested billions of dollars in our network to make sure that you can chat, stream, and share with our truly unlimited data. Not only are we giving you the best value on the best 5G network, we are pleased to offer everyone attending this event a 25% discount for life on qualifying rate plans. That is exclusively for you all at this event today. Now, we do have our mobile truck team here. Akira is joining me this morning. We are also offering discounts for our active duty military, veterans, first responders, and their families. We are truly giving you the best discounts. We thank you for everything that you do for us. We also have the best discounts for customers over the age of 55 and with business owners. Some of our added benefits include Apple TV and Paramount Plus free for the first year. Netflix included on our Magenta Max plans with 2 lines or more, and the price you see is the price you pay with taxes and fees included, so no hidden fees on your monthly bill. Once again, thank you so much for the opportunity, and we look forward to bringing you the best wireless, the best value in wireless. Myself and Akira are here if you have any additional questions or would like any contact information.
Thank you so much, Brian, and to T-Mobile. We appreciate your sponsorship and for supporting our event in the Boardman community this morning. Thank you again. Before we move on, I want to take a moment to give you a quick update on one of our last events of the year, as well as talk about a new benefit for our members. Our Salute to Elected Officials is always a great, well-attended event, and Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose and Ohio Senate President Matt Huffman lead an ever-growing list of elected state and local government officials who will be available to mix and mingle with business leaders after hours on Monday, November 22nd at the Grand Resort in Warren. You can find out more information at regionalchamber.com. You can also find more there about a new member benefit we recently launched in partnership with Warren-based Greenboard IT. We're offering an e-waste recycling program to businesses. Greenboard, its entire operation is built around data security, and every data device that enters the facility is either digitally sanitized using federally recognized standards or physically shredded. Certificates of recycling are provided for every pickup, and itemized certificates of destruction are also available if required. So if you have, whether at your home or businesses, devices lying around that you're no longer using, computers, laptops, servers, scanners, hard drives, unused cartridges, toners, stereos, DVD players, VCRs, things that are ancient, cameras, keyboards, paper shredders, even televisions and printers are accepted. So if you have any of those lying around and you want to get rid of them, and how many of you, I know, we hold on to things because we're afraid to get rid of them and don't want people to have access to those things, but this company can take that and recycle, shred devices. So that is something we're now offering to our members. So if that is something you're interested in, please let us know. Well, jumping right into our updates this morning, we're glad to first introduce for an update on economic development and some exciting things that are going on in Boardman Township, Planning and Zoning Director Krista Beniston.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. They asked me to speak on zoning, so you're stuck with me for at least 5 to 6 minutes. But thank you. If you want to go ahead. So just real quick, kind of just an update on what's going on in the department, the township, economic development. Just thought this information just came out, so it might be interesting. We look a lot at the census. It's not out at a small level, but at a general township level, the population did stay about the same. You can kind of see the other information that just comes with the census as far as household income, household size. There's a lot of employment data, which I'm sure all of you are very familiar with and use. So that is something that we really look at just to see what are the trends in housing and retail. What do things look like now? What are they going to look like? So as more information comes out, we'll definitely put together maps, look at changes at the smallest level we can. Go ahead. So just in general, hopefully anyone who's had interaction with our department, it's been positive. We've really been working hard to be more transparent, more efficient, friendly to the residents and businesses. Some of the stuff we're really doing is really looking at being data-driven and proactive, from everything from complaints to where we put our resources, to the zoning and looking at properties that are good for businesses. We do all the zoning, the permitting, help people do site development, property maintenance. We have our landlord registration program, and then we do a lot of planning activities as well. We've also put everything online, so you can now do all your permitting, look up anything going on with your property. Everything is hopefully more transparent and easier to use. And we also have updated our zoning code, which I'm going to talk more about in a second. So just in general, we've tried to do a lot more planning, looking at, like I said, like the census data and looking at what's going on in the township from, where are high income, low income areas, where is housing being built, what are the, how is housing aging, and what do those needs look like? What are the size of commercial properties? We used to look at all commercial properties like they were the same size. That obviously, as you know, one size fits all never really works. But we've also looked at, active transportation. The map up here shows where sidewalks are and bike amenities. We've done a safe routes to school plan and gone after grants. We're currently conducting, a property condition survey of every property in the township and looking at major corridors. Right now, WRTA is working on a plan looking at the Market Street corridor, which, this site would be a huge part of, and also looking at the Glenwood corridor. So a lot of just different things, really looking at how we're connected throughout Boardman and to other places, but also, what are those trends that are going on? So the zoning code is one of those boring things that, if you had to work with our department, is really important. It really says what you can put on the property, where it can go, what, it looks like, what types of businesses. It makes you spend, money on stormwater and landscaping, but also enhances the property and protects it for the township for in the future. So we really tried to, a lot of the information we have was from 1948 was when our code was first created. As a lot of you know, that it does not apply to today. So there's been updates along the way, but there's a lot of things that really needed clarified, updated. Like I said, the biggest thing was a one size fits all. We have North Market Street, which has sort of that, real smaller lots, to 224 to more out by 680. All of those properties have different needs. The businesses have different needs, as well as housing. We have housing that has one car garage. I think even, most houses have at least 3 cars today. So how do we get people to stay in their houses, invest in their homes, but also providing different types of housing? Kind of back to that census is what are those trends? Are we aging? What is family size? So really trying to look at how we can, look at what the needs of the community are with, what we are encouraging in our planning and zoning. So mainly just making it a lot more clear and flexible. How can we, like I said, kind of remain competitive? These are pictures of the mall and the Boardman Plaza, when they were first built. I don't think any of us know, probably you guys more than I, what the future is going to look like for retail in the next 20, 30 years. But I think we all know it's not going to look like what it looked like the last 20 or 30 years. So just trying to be flexible and make sure that we are adjusting to just new standards that promotes business while also balancing, growth. So we have architectural standards, we have landscape design, we require stormwater management, and just looking at how we, make sure, and a lot of those things businesses are very familiar with, all around the country. They come here and, they already know they have to do those. So we have an architecture review board that reviews all of that. And just, really encouraging redevelopment. Go ahead. So here's our, fancy new zoning map, but just showing that, we used to have kind of one residential, one thing for family, one commercial district, and just making that so there's multiple to be more flexible. If you'd continue. So a lot of times, we talk about, new development, greenfield sites being developed, taking down trees or adding pavement and that kind of thing. But when I started just looking at the last 2 or 3 years of what we've actually done, we have some great new large developments. A couple listed here, Kufleitner, Meyer, Briarfield, Enterprise is the newest one coming on market, that are on greenfield. And those have to do stormwater and landscaping, which keep it, essentially keep stormwater at the same level it was before it was grass. But one thing when just looking at these, and this is just like in the last 2.5 years, is how much redevelopment we've really seen. If you think about just going down the corridor, I started just throwing together a list. And I mean, it could have been twice this long. But, Sweeney has a new one. Akron Children's keeps investing. Where we're standing is one of the biggest, I think, examples of, looking at how do we take what was done in the past and kind of modernize it to now. But even from, gas stations, restaurants. I mean, so a lot of the development in the township really is going on existing sites that were pavement, that have almost no landscaping, no stormwater, older design criteria. So when those get redeveloped, those are all getting new, underground detention systems. They're looking a lot better. They're making the township look nice. But so, people talk a lot about, why don't you develop on existing properties? And I think when you look at how much redevelopment versus new, I mean, we really have a ton of development in the township, which is exciting. I think, Swenson's just announced, which I think everyone's excited about. But even things like, Combine Brothers reusing things, reusing a lot of the older plazas. The new Kmart Plaza was redeveloped. A lot of the different gas stations, even though their gas stations might not be everyone's favorite, but we use them, but they're adding stormwater, landscaping, all of that. So just a couple pictures, if you can just feel free to flip through them, but that's really it. I think, like I said, this, site here is, sorry, if you'll flip back. What it used to look like, you kind of see that, if you can imagine, or go one more. What Sears was. I mean, this is a lot of what, was developed. These massive parking lots, which we understand parking's needed. We're not trying to get rid of your parking. But, like this is kind of what it looked like. You have these huge kind of blank facades, massive parking spaces, no stormwater, landscaping, and really wasn't creating a sense of place. And then if you look at what was now, you just kind of see, this site exemplifies, I think, exactly what, we'd love to see in the township and keep encouraging. All the different storefronts kind of facing out, different exciting facades, glass windows, easy to access, great green space, the bike facilities, and just places where people actually want to be and gather rather than just go, pull up in their car, walk through the parking lot and leave, but places that, actually add to the community. So very excited, to be in this space as it's come to fruition. Thank you to everyone in the chamber for putting this on, and the mall especially for taking on, I think, such a big project and doing it, exceptionally well. So that was all I had. Please feel free to call our office at any time if you have questions or ever want to discuss, kind of projects that are going on. We're always happy to talk to anybody. And at this point, and also I just wanted to thank my board of township trustees and administration. They're the ones that have pushed all of this stuff and really, made sure that it's happening and that we're designing things the way they should be. So they've been hugely encouraging for allowing our department to, kind of be more up to date and really push these things. And I'd like to introduce Trustee Larry Moliterno to kind of give a more overview on what's going on with the township.
Thanks, Krista. And I also want to mention, we're all very excited. Krista obviously is going to have a child in December, and we're all very happy for her. But I do want to mention, not only has Krista had a great vision for what the future of communities are going to look like, but I almost feel it necessary to also mention, they're kind of a great couple because her husband, Ian, who runs the Youngstown Neighborhood Development Center, between the two of them, they really have done a lot for our community in understanding, what neighborhoods are going to look like into the future. And I think they're a great example of a young couple who are committed to the future of this community and going to raise their children here. So congratulations and good luck with everything, Krista. I also want to make sure that we recognize the rest of the staff here at Boardman Township. we do a lot of work, and really the administration is pretty small, but I do want to mention our department heads. Marilyn Kenner, our road superintendent, is here. Mark Pitzer, our fire chief, is here. Todd Worth, our police chief. Boy, being a police chief and being a police officer in today's world is a challenge, and we can't say enough about what those men and women do every day to protect our community. And we know there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. Well, one of the things that we're kind of excited about, we just got our body cameras in. Something that we never thought we'd have to deal with, and now all of our officers will be equipped with those beginning very soon. And getting great people to come into Boardman and be police officer continues to be a challenge. So help us get the word out that it's a great job and it's so needed in our community. Also want to mention Jason Lurie, obviously our administrator, and the czar of stormwater projects, has done a great job. Stephanie Landers is here, also our assistant administrator. Bill Light, our fiscal officer, is not here, but George Platten is here representing that department. And so I do want to make sure that we mention all the folks who work to make Boardman function every day. And I am a Boardman Township trustee, and I also want to recognize my fellow trustees, our chairman, Brad Calhoun, and Tom Costello. Sometimes it's interesting. People think that there's a mayor of Boardman, and we joke about that, but obviously there's no mayor of Boardman, and we like it that way. We think that the township form of government is the best way to run government. It's the one where we are the closest to the people. There's no city council folks who are kind of dealing with their ward issues and all of that. There's just 3 people trying to make sure that we keep 40,000 people happy and tons of businesses in this community happy, and we're just proud to do that. So it really kind of is an appropriate time, I guess, to congratulate Brad and Tom just being elected on another 4-year term. And I think it shows that, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in social media, and a lot of people have their opinions, but at the end of the day, the voters they're always right. And they come out and they make these decisions, and they got it right here, and we're just very proud to continue to serve together for another 4 years. We have been together, the 3 of us, for 12 years. And in that time, we've stayed committed to making decisions that are always based on Boardman's long-term success, not just short-term gratification. And trust me, there's lots of times when you want to make that quick decision to have people like you and think that you're doing a good job. But no, we have made long-term decisions, and we're going to talk a little bit today about the things that we have done that have taken a while, but now we're now seeing the fruition of those efforts. We have been and continue to be dedicated to listening to the needs and aspirations of the residents in this community. And we never take lightly the fact that they entrusted us to make decisions that are in their best interest and their families. And we're always asking the question, what makes a great community? I mean, after all, we stood here 2 years ago, we talked about what this project was going to be. And there's a lot of cynical people out there. And we don't care. We fought through that, and we've proved everybody wrong that this could happen. And I think we're really proud of the fact that we did it. And we're here at a chamber event. We should be talking about why we're proud to be here in Boardman, and why you're proud to do business in Boardman, and why we're proud to live here in Boardman. So that's what I'm going to talk about. We think it's a great community. Why is it a great community? What makes a great community? It starts with neighborhoods. Check. Our new zoning regulations that we've put in effect, our land bank that we put into effect, and our landlord registration program are all designed to maintain the integrity of neighborhoods. These things didn't happen overnight. These are programs that we've been working on for years with that long-term vision. What else about a great community? A great community has an understanding of how to be a great place to do business. Check again. A lot of you here understand that. My business office is in Boardman. Businesses appreciate the responsibility to be good neighbors. Their bottom lines can thrive here, but they're still abiding by our water retention and green space strategies, and they don't mind doing that. And they also recognize that they share an important part of the tax burden for our residents. A great community also has great schools. Check. Boardman schools are still continue to be respected by everybody in this region. So thank you to the school system and the work that you guys do. A great community offers easy access to entertainment, shopping, and recreation. Check, check, and check. Look around at what this facility has the capacity to do for our families. It's going to be a great gathering place. Wait till the ice skate rink opens up. Wait till people start coming here in this great facility. It's going to be a great place. We also have not one, but two great parks. Not only Boardman Park, but people forget that most of Mill Creek Park falls in Boardman Township. So everything we do is about making Boardman not just a nice place to call home, but a great place to live. We have had successes, and we're going to continue to work together for even more. But real success takes time, and real success takes determination, and success takes guts. It's hard to say. We are one of only a few communities who have a long-term strategic plan, and we have had a strategic plan for 12 years now. And that plan is to thrive, not just survive as a community. We also understand collaboration and working together. The creation of the ABC Water District is a result of the relationship that we built with Austintown and Canfield. Because of this, we have seen a series of projects come to fruition to address the flood issues that have been decades in the making. Okay, that ABC Water District took us about 10 years to get up and going. The new fire station is the result of the relationship between the Boardman School Board and allowed us to replace a century-old building that now is one of the state-of-the-art. The Market Street Walking Retention Park is a result of the relationship between the school board, but also the county commissioners. The commissioners recently supported that project with a $1 million check. And they did that because they know that we have a strong plan, they know we're going to get it done, and they know that we're going to be good stewards of that money. That doesn't come overnight. The new Southern Park Mall in DeBartolo Commons is the result of a relationship with Washington Prime. We went to Columbus and we met with the folks there. And we told them what our concerns were, and they listened to us. They told us about what their vision was going to be to develop a new community gathering place, and now we're starting to see that. That didn't happen overnight. And this project also is the result of our relationship with local labor unions. We proved with this project that business, government, and labor unions can work together for projects that will define our future. 2 years ago, we stood here to talk about the dream of what this property could be. A pandemic and a supply chain shortage did not stop it from happening. So thank you, Washington Prime. Brian Gabbert's here. Brian, thank you for your commitment to this community. And I know you're going to, I wish I could announce some things that you are going to announce, but that's for you to do. But there's a lot of new good news coming, isn't there? So why does an organization like Washington Prime invest in Boardman Township? Why does Combine Brothers want to open in Boardman? Why does the hot dog shop? Why does Myers, Swenson's, folks here like the Bunker and Double Bogies? Why do people like Josh Langenheim of Still Valley Brew Works want to come here and open this in Boardman business? Because smart business people know where to do business. They want to do business in a strong, thriving community. We have proven that we know how to get things done. And we're here at a chamber event. We encourage the chamber not to view us simply as an innocent bystanders of some of the new projects that are interested in moving into this community. But we want to be a participant in the process because we've shown that we know how to get it done. So, sometimes we don't like talking about being proud. We're not supposed to talk about what we do. But you know what? I've lived here now. This is my community. And I really feel like I am speaking on behalf of not just Brad and Tom, but I think I'm speaking on behalf of all Boardmanites when I say that I'm proud of the dedication of our safety forces, risking their lives every day. I'm proud of our teachers in this community for how professional and committed they are. I'm proud of our coaches for giving their time and their talent. I'm proud of our parents in this community, loving and guiding. I'm proud of our business leaders for operating responsibly in our community. I'm proud of everyone that goes to work each day in our community, driving the economy. I'm proud of the neighbors who look out for each other, keeping everyone safe. I'm proud of our doctors and nurses that serve the most vulnerable, literally saving lives. And oh, by the way, every baby born in this valley now is born here in Boardman Township. I'm proud of the folks who volunteer their time to tend to the ball fields and run a Cub Scout group because they're always giving back to their community. I'm proud of the folks who get up every morning and work out at the YMCA, committed to a healthy lifestyle. I'm proud to be part of a great community. And sometimes I don't think it's a bad thing to say it. And if you live in Boardman, you work in Boardman, be proud and tell everyone that you're proud to be a part of Boardman Township. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Larry, and to Krista. So well said, Larry. I know everyone in this room works, lives, and plays in Boardman. I myself grew up in Boardman. My parents still live here. Proud Spartan, and it is such a wonderful community. And I know even driving in here today, I had not been to this part of the mall in quite some time, and it was thrilling to see all of this improvement and the changes that have been made. And it's exciting that more of that is to come. So thank you, and to the township for all of your efforts and hard work. Well, we can only imagine how challenging the past year and a half has been for our next speaker. But despite COVID, we know that there are always lots of good things happening in the Boardman Local School District and for the students who are proud to be Spartans. Let's welcome School Superintendent Tim Saxton.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank the Regional Chamber for the opportunity to come back and present and get invited back. I did notice on the agenda, and I was very, very jealous that the township had 5 more minutes than the schools. But Larry, thank you for your kind words, and I tell you what, you can have an extra 30 minutes to keep talking about how proud we all are of the Boardman Township, the Boardman schools, and the great things here. I mean, you have to be proud if you're going to rock a Spartan tie, all right? And it was made by a Boardman teacher, too. Mr. Rubino has a great influence. Before I begin, I also want to thank Brian for helping host. And is Jonah in here somewhere? Jonah, just phenomenal. You know, you were on the morning show a couple weeks ago, and when you worked it into your talk that you're a proud Boardman graduate. I don't know if you heard me cheer from my home. It did scare my dog and my wife, woke my kids up, but no, I appreciate that and respect that. And then I forgot about Josh next door here. Josh is also a proud Boardman graduate. So this is just, again, working off the pride theme. Boy, just great connections, and it's great to see that we're not having that brain drain, that we're having our graduates pour back into our community. I do want to introduce a couple people from the Boardman schools. Our board president, back in the corner, Vicki Davis, and she also has been reelected. And I'm going to tell you, when you have challenging times, it is so good as a leader to know you have a battle-tested board supporting you and working with you and challenging you. And our communications person, Amy Radinovic, is floating around somewhere, taking pictures and, again, communicating out all the good things of Boardman. So I thought what I'd do is just talk a little bit what we did last year, because there's some great lessons learned, how we applied them to this year, and how we're moving forward, and how that's impacted some of our students and our programs this year. So a COVID adventure. And by the way, all the introduction stuff, that doesn't count as part of my 10 minutes, does it? All right, so just, we didn't speak last year. Just a restart summary of last year. We knew we had a challenge ahead of us. Our goal was we wanted to make sure kids had the option to attend in person and also attend remote. And we knew that the only way kids could get a quality education if the Boardman teachers provided instruction for both. So we wanted to be prepared. We did have some supply chain issues, so we delayed the start of school. We built an in-person and a remote option so parents can choose. We had Boardman teachers build capacity so they could do both. But our concern was to make sure we dedicated time, especially for the parents and the students that chose the online. So we did a 1-hour delay for grades 4 through 12, so we could dedicate some time to the online, and then a 1-hour early release for K through 3. Another thing, we want to make sure we had the proper safety protocol, so we had a heavy investment in plexiglass dividers, and we're proud to say we partnered with Innovation Exhibits and the Gables, who are here, who were tremendous. I know they had challenges, but they made sure we had plexiglass and then some wherever we needed. So again, it was nice to partner with a local business. And obviously, as we know, desks had to be spaced at maximum distance per classroom. So that was our game plan. So as we went through the year, we found out that we had 2 major weaknesses. We got about 5-6 weeks in, and we realized if you're going to do online instruction, have your teachers do it and do Zoom or Google Meets, we realized our technology was not that good, not efficient to do that. We were using Chromebooks, and Chromebooks have great use, but maybe not the best for that virtual presentation. So we found a weakness in our technology, and the other issue is by having teachers do both platforms, both teach students in person and teach remote, it was almost like a double duty. It was a double duty, and we were actually just burning our staff out as fast as we could. So our two major issues were, I call it, it's an old AC/DC, TNT, and I won't sing it, but it was technology and time. So we had to solve that. So what we did is we took dollars and we invested in updated technology. We got new MacBooks in the hands of all our staff, and we made sure every student had a Chromebook and a newer Chromebook. Some of ours were newer, so we were able to retask those, but we want every kid to have a Chromebook, and we want to make sure our teachers had the top technology because that was really their main teaching tool. The other thing that we did to buy time back for our teachers so we did not lose them because both systems were about to collapse if we didn't do something with time is we added this remote Wednesday to the weekly schedule. And I'm going to tell you that was a tough decision because we knew we put some of our young parents in a tough spot, but really our whole structure was about to collapse if we didn't do that. So just some quick numbers. We started the year last year with 72% in person, 28% remote learning. And then as we went through the year, more people felt comfortable coming back. So as in the last 9 weeks, we saw 91% in person and 9% remote. We felt like that's probably that 9% are the families that truly want a remote option. So these are all the things that shaped us as we move forward. So learning and moving on. So to prepare to launch for this year, we knew parents wanted their kids in school a full day. No 1 hour delays, no 1 hour late starts, no remote Wednesdays. We heard that loud and clear. So we wanted to build a system that was 5 days per week, regular school hours. We knew that there were some parents at 9% at the end would want a true online learning option, but we knew we couldn't task our staff to do it. Our staff are phenomenal teachers, but to ask them to do both platforms, it just was not working. So we wanted them to focus on the in-person learning, so we developed a Spartan Academy. And so we partnered with, there are software vendors out there that's their specialty. So we built a system called Spartan Academy, and we used those third-party vendors, and our teachers acted as support, as tutors and counselors after school hours, and we looked for teacher volunteers. The other thing was the learning gaps. That was huge. And we're about instruction. You're here to learn. So how are we going to tackle some of these kids that maybe used a learning option and we're falling behind, or kids that didn't adapt as well to some of the measures we had to put in place? So we had to address the learning gaps. And then there were new safety guidelines out of the Ohio Department of Health. Vaccines, they were recommending get as many people as you can vaccinated. They recommended universal masking. They recommended improved air quality, and they also recommended do maximum distancing in your classrooms the best you can. So those were the driving factors. So on top of all that, I'm sure some of you have seen some of your employees leave because of COVID. We have what I call a leadership drain. If you add that up, that's pretty close to 100 years of experience. Our Boardman High School principal, she had been there for 33 years working for the schools, not always as the principal. Our center principal, 35 years, and our director of operations had started as a student custodian and worked his way up. So that's almost 100 years of leadership that we lost. That was a major concern, but we got a huge win. And leadership solved. Mark Zur, who I had hired back in the day when I was a principal, he had gone on to Poland to be their special ed director, came back. I mean, his dream job was to be Boardman High School principal. It was exciting to have him back. Mike Masucci was a principal over at Poland for over 27 years. He's a Boardman grad. He came back. And Brian Fonderlin, whose kids had gone through Boardman, he was a perfect mix for that job. He had actually owned his own business, he had been in construction, and he had switched careers and gone into education. He had been a teacher and administrator, and when he heard about the director of operations, it was a marriage of two of his big loves, which was construction and education. So we shored up those three holes, and we have three phenomenal leaders to replace that leadership drain. So now as we move forward, you still feel a little lost. I'm sure a lot of us do that. So we're starting with new leaders. We're starting with new conditions. And as they always say, when you're lost, you got to figure out what your compass is. Where's your true north? What do you believe in? And then apply it to your map. And the map we had just like the township taught. We had a strategic plan that kind of tapered off a little bit because we were finishing up in the spring of 2020 and COVID hit, and we kind of put that on the shelf and we had to tackle COVID. But when we pulled that out, it was almost a perfect marriage of these things that we were trying to tackle. So goal 1, provide individual learning pathways for all students. Our goal is we want every kid to have an individual experience. If you think about kids nowadays, everything's individualized. They can tailor-make everything. But education hasn't adapted. We need to adapt so we can provide individual learning pathways. That tied into gap closing. So next slide. So how do we provide those pathways? Spartan Academy for the ones that want to choose the online option. Additional staffing. Okay, so we put staffing in the elementary grades. We knew there's some kids maybe that they didn't quite qualify for retainment for first grade, but they weren't quite ready for second grade. So maybe we created an unofficial grade 1.5 and put a staff member in them to transition them to get them ready for second grade and beyond. We created study tables at 7 to 12. We created the K through 3 phase-in days. We did that for kindergarten, but those were days where we could gather data to find out where the kids are so we can actually put a plan together to close those gaps. And one of our weaknesses, we didn't quite have the data that we like in the K through 3 in the 7 through 12, so we invested in MAP, which is measures of academic progress. And actually the high school is going through that now, finding those data points so we can design instruction to close those learning gaps. Goal 3, and the goals are out of order because I put them with alignment with what we're talking about, their challenges. Goal 3 was create a 21st century learning environment, ensure all facilities provide maximum safety. So as we open up, how are we going to tackle these new safety concerns? So HVAC was a huge recommendation out of the Ohio Department of Health. We replaced all our filters, upgraded all our filters across the district, and we invested in these industrial air purifiers and put that in every single learning spaces. Another thing that we did that was important, we had started to implement bottle fillers versus drinking fountains. Now that one we did get hit with the supply chain, and we're slowly replacing our drinking fountains and adding those bottle fillers. Goal 4, increase community pride in the schools through effective communications. So we have a website. We report all our positive cases in our quarantines. You're only supposed to report your positive cases. We also add the quarantines. We want our parents to feel comfortable. We want them to know what we know, what's going on with positive cases in the building. And we also communicate our positive cases to the parents to remind every single letter. And I know some parents are like, there's another letter. But they know every time we have a positive case. So again, they know what we know. We do weekly videos about every 2 weeks we do videos, just to give updates to our parents, and we just continue to push out the positive things of the Boardman schools. The last goal, design and implement learning experiences for students to achieve college and career readiness and skills for life. That one was put on hold because last year it was hard to bring speakers in or to send our kids out. And this year we are adjusting. So that one was challenging last year, but here's what we're doing this year. So we have a new director of our Performing Arts Center. He has created our BPAC crew, and we have phenomenal technology in there, and we have kids that really want to learn this. So he has created a crew of kids that learn lighting, learning sound, and obviously we have BSTN, also partners with that, but we have kids that do that during the school day to help pique their interest and maybe choose it as a career. In Woods Tech, we had the old, if you're a Boardman grad, you probably remember the Woods classes and the metal classes, and those have gone more to the Career Center, but we took our Woods class and we partnered with the Carpenters Pre-Apprenticeship Program. So now we have students in this Carpenters Pre-Apprenticeship Program in our Woods class, so that has evolved. We're doing the Microsoft credentialing in our computer classes, and then we also this year did the AdMeet, which I knew I would not remember what it was, so I wrote it real smaller. Assured Digital Microelectronics Education and Training Ecosystem. That's a partnership with YSU. These are kids that volunteer to stay after school, and they do engineering and technology, and it's for our seniors. So I believe the next slide will show you some of these things in action. Here's some of the kids learning how to do some of the lighting and some of the sound up in our control booth in our Performing Arts Center. Here are kids in the Carpenter Pre-Apprenticeship Program. Here's a great problem solving for you. So you have homecoming. You're trying not to smash everyone into a space. You want to be able to allow kids to space out. They actually made picnic tables as part of the pre-apprenticeship program so kids could space out, sit outside, and still enjoy homecoming. And then the final slide is that's the ad meet where the kids are working with the microelectronics and the engineering. And wrapping up here, the golden rule, where are we going to find the gold to pay for all this? So I'm sure you're like, hey, he's talking about a lot of stuff. How do they cover that? Well, usually when I stand up here, we always talk about how schools don't get proper funding, and it always seems like Boardman gets the short end. One positive thing about COVID, that didn't happen. So federal ESSER funds. We probably were one of the most blessed school districts in Mahoning County with the federal ESSER funds. The good, we got approximately $10 million between ESSER 1, ESSER 2, and ESSER 3 combined. The challenge is you can't create legacy costs. If you're going to spend that, you do not want to create programs that will continue after those funds run out. That's a bad financial plan. So you want to invest in items that the cost will sunset. So what we have done is our overall game plan is 1/3 goes into cost recovery. I talked about plexiglass. I'm sure you had to buy PPEs. We had to have additional subs. Noontime aides had to work longer because the lunches are spread out. So we paid ourselves back for those additional costs. HVAC and infrastructure, so those upgrades in the air filters, the air purifiers, and we're continuing to take a look at our cooling systems moving forward. That is still being studied and to be determined. That's a sunset cost. We'll invest in that once and then and use those funds wisely. And then the academic intervention, those additional staff members, those study tables, those positions we create are not long-term. They're 1 to 2 year positions, and the staff that we hired know that. They're just there to do those gap closings so we can get back to a more typical school routine. So that's how we're paying for it. It's a blessing for those ESSER funds. And that's it. And I'm probably way over, but thank you.
Thank you so much, Superintendent Saxton. Always a great overview of what's going on in the schools, especially during these challenging times. I always laugh. My own mother still works in the Boardman School District, and I think she said she's the oldest or second oldest employee, and we can't get her to retire. And I think she's been there for almost 30 years, but she loves the district, she loves the kids, and I don't think she's going anywhere. And I understand why. It's a wonderful school system, and we appreciate your update and joining us today. For our final update, we'd like to welcome President of the Bunker. We're so glad to be hosted here today, especially since this is not yet open to the public. So truly, you are all getting a first exclusive preview. And we'd like to welcome President Jonah Carsmer to tell us a little more. And hopefully you can stay for a few minutes and take a tour. It's an amazing facility. I didn't realize just how large it is. So if nothing else, please stick around and see it for yourself.
Good morning. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I'm not as polished of a speaker as Mr. Saxton and Mr. Moliterno, but I do want to echo their sentiments of just how proud I am as a Boardman grad to be here today and have this facility and open it up in my hometown. And I tend to, when I get a microphone in my hand, talk a little bit longer than I'm supposed to, so I'm going to try to keep this short. I know workday. Carl probably got a tea time. So I'll try to keep it short and kind of get through this. But I also will try to keep this as non-commercial as possible and just kind of talk through quickly how we got here and what we're excited about. And I have to start the conversation with Washington Prime Group. You know, I've got a friend, Brian Kirschbaum, who's from the Valley, who works down in their Columbus office. When the announcement came that they were doing the redevelopment project, he approached me in 2019 and said, you know, come and talk to our regional director. We're just trying to get input from local business owners and get ideas on what, what people think may work in the mall. And we sat down in, I think it was March 2019, and they said, what are you passionate about? And I said, the community and golf and my family. And we ended up talking about this concept, an indoor golf center, a family-oriented facility to create new experiences in Boardman. And if I can talk long here in a microphone, trust me, when you get me in a room with two people, we were there for a long time. And at the end of the meeting, they said, that sounds great, we want you to do it. And I kind of never thought it was going to happen. I came home, and my wife asked how it went, and I'm in insurance, and she's a pharmaceutical rep. And I said, I think we're going to explore opening a restaurant and golf center in the mall. And she thought I was totally insane. So I did as well, to be honest. So Washington Prime, we continued the conversations, and each time we were going to have a meeting, I told my wife, I said, I'm sure this will be the one that we uncover some impasse that prevents us from doing it, and that'll be the end of the conversation. And Washington Prime just worked with me as a new developer, and we managed to get it done. And I really believe, I don't think this would have happened without Washington Prime as an owner, without this mall as the location, because they bought into my vision in this facility and really helped make it happen. So it was a long process. We were about to sign a lease in February of 2020, and then COVID hit, so we had additional discussions to work through, but we got it done. We started construction in May of this year, and here we are today. So just have to thank Brian and his team at Washington Prime for helping make this a reality. So just real fast, I made some slides here to keep me on track. Why the bunker? Like I said, when we started the discussion, it was all about passion and family, community, and golf is what we talked about, and that's what we tried to build out, something that can impact all three. So starting with community, just some kind of numbers. Yep. So I know Washington Prime's committed millions of dollars to the entire facility. I'm pretty proud of what we've already done here. $3 million plus has been invested just in this facility to get this to fruition. And we project on having over 150 employees within the space. So I think we'll see an economic impact just from our little corner of the mall here. Also, I wanted to just touch on, I'm proud of, we tried to build out a social good component to our business model. So we have the Ben Curtis Academy is opening in our practice facility in the back. Ben was a teammate of mine at Kent State, played on the PGA Tour for a long time, and we're excited to have them involved. He has a family foundation that fights child hunger in Northeast Ohio, mainly in the Kent area. And as a Youngstown State grad, I'm pretty passionate about raising money for the YSU golf team. So what we did was we created a roundup feature in our software. So when you come to the facility, anytime you check out anywhere, there'll be an option to round up to the nearest dollar, and we'll collect that money, and half the money will go to the YSU golf teams, and half the money will go to the Ben Curtis Family Foundation. And then we also have Simulator 9 up front. We have a nonprofit template built out that will let any local nonprofit use the space for free and follow our template to raise $500 to $1,000 over a couple hours. So being a new business, I thought it was important to incorporate some community good into the business model, and that's something that we're proud of. And then to come, we'll have a scholarship program that I don't know if we'll have it on day one, but we'll build out a scholarship program for junior memberships here at the bunker and college scholarships to our graduating seniors. Golf at the bunker. So obviously golf's our key component to our business model. As a golfer, since the dome collapsed, 5, 6, 7 years ago, we really haven't had an indoor facility just to come and hit balls in the wintertime. And that was kind of an immediate need, was just giving local golfers an opportunity to come practice. We've accomplished that with the practice facility in the back. But I'm really excited about the simulators that we were able to secure. Foresight Sports out of California worked with us. We've got 12 total technology units throughout the space, 10 overhead simulators and 2 handheld units in the back, and they're pretty awesome. So whether you want to play a serious round of golf, come out and kind of mess around like a Top Golf point system, there's Camfode Fair games, there's a lot you can do on them. I think that it's a nice addition from an entertainment standpoint to offer here locally. We also have an open door policy for local PGA pros. Sometimes you see indoor centers and they try to protect the space and don't let other people come in and teach. We want this to be the home of Valley Golf. So if you're a golf student and you take lessons from John Jones at Youngstown or Brian Tolnar at Mill Creek, feel free to come on out, and those guys or lady professional teachers are welcome to use the space throughout the wintertime. I think our goal with golf, if we do well, we're going to grow the game locally. I think we can add to the number of rounds being played at our public and private facilities. And I think long term, I'd like to really see our local high school teams become more competitive at sectionals and districts and state, and eventually see a greater number of our junior golfers continue their participation in the sport in college. Family at the bunker. This was a big one for me. I've got an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old, 2 daughters, and we do a lot locally, but I wanted to really incorporate some family opportunities here, and we really tried to build out the space with multiple rooms and multiple kind of entertainment options throughout, so that if you want to come out with some buddies and drink beer and have a good time, you can do that. If you want to come out as a family and spend a couple hours on a simulator, you've got that option as well. So I'm really excited about just having different family opportunities to create new memories here at the bunker. Real quick, who we are. So obviously, the bunker, that's the name of the entire facility. Double bogeys, I'm going to touch on them here briefly, but when this opportunity presented itself, I knew enough about golf to want to do it. I knew I didn't know anything about food and beverage and was not able to learn that. So I immediately went to Melvin McKee and Carmen LaFaro at Bogies and said, we've got an opportunity. I think we can get it done. I'll sign the lease, and we've got an agreement with them. So everything that you get served throughout this place, whether it be up here in the back and the simulators, all food and beverage will come from Melvin McKee and his team at Double Bogeys. I talked about Ben Curtis a little bit, played on tour, so his family foundation is one of our beneficiaries, and the Ben Curtis Academy in the back. We did do a 2-year deal with the Lake Club, so Mr. Moransky, I think, understood what we were doing here and wanted his Lake Club members to have an opportunity to use the space. So all Lake Club members will have a 2-year membership at the bunker. Does not prevent others from joining. They're not the only ones who get memberships, but we do have a 2-year deal with the Lake Club. And then, yet hasn't been announced yet, but Mr. Kufleitner down the street, we have a high school membership program that we'll be rolling out, and Mr. Kufleitner sponsored the entire high school golf season. So we have a cost structure laid out, and he's actually paying half of the tab for any high school that joins. So you have a lot of different entities within the place. Obviously, it's a big space. It's not going to just run itself, and we're happy and proud and excited to have all these different kind of partnerships in place. Common questions, just real fast. When are we opening? It was going to be September 15th. It was going to be October 15th, and now we're hopefully measuring in weeks and not months. But we are waiting for a few final pieces in the kitchen to come in to get our cooking permits and liquor permits. So I'm hopeful that by December, we'll be able to have some public events. Where's Double Bogeys and where's the bunker? So this I get asked all the time. The whole place is called the bunker, and like I said, all food and beverage throughout is going to be served by Double Bogeys. So it's all one space. There is no dedicated bogey space versus bunker space. What's the membership all about? So we do have a membership component. You can join the bunker. By doing so, we've got our simulators in the back, and we have the practice facility. As a member, you can book the simulators a month out on the website and the app. And then when you rent the simulators by the hour, the cost is $50 an hour to the public, $40 an hour to the members. So if you use the facility somewhat regularly, the increased accessibility to the simulators and the discounted price should hopefully more than pay for the membership. It's not meant to be cost prohibitive. It's $250 for the year for a full family, down to $120 a year for a junior membership. Can only Lake Club members get a membership? Absolutely not. Anybody can join. Our website and app are being rolled out next week, so we'll have some pre-opening specials with memberships included on there. When will memberships become available? So, yeah, I think that covers all the common questions. What's coming? I think through our Facebook and Instagram and website and app, we've got a lot of announcements that we're going to roll out as we get a firm opening date. But from a golf standpoint, we plan on having an entire series of tournaments and leagues and clinics. So we'll do an Old Pal tournament and a club championship and a lot of the fun tournaments that you see at country clubs and public courses. This technology is awesome. We've got the capability to do it inside, and we'll roll that out when we're able to get open. We do plan on having member social events and mixers, some content that we'll roll out on a weekly basis, and then the high school memberships, like I mentioned, we'll make that available as we have a firm opening date. And grand opening week details, we've got some fun events planned. Todd Franco's helping me plan that out, and we look forward to doing 4 or 5 days in a row of fun activities, hopefully sometime in early December. Just real fast, our team, Obviously, Jonah Carsmer, I'm the owner and developer, but from a golf standpoint, I've got Danny Phillips standing in the back and Jacob Krugel. They're our PGA Director of Golf and Assistant Professional here to lead the golf operation. Nancy Sullivan, we've got Nancy. I think she knows 99% of people in the Valley, so I think most of you know Nancy. We're super excited to have her with us as kind of our Director of Events. And then we touched on food with Melvin and Carmen and their team at Bogies, now Double Bogies here. Couldn't be happier to have them on board. So I think a final page. Let's see. Yeah, just some thank yous real fast. I touched on a lot of them. Washington Prime, Melvin and Carmen from Bogies, Ben and Candace Curtis. Ben is the most laid-back guy in the world. I called him. I said, hey, we're doing an indoor golf center. I want to put your name on it. And he said, okay. It was about 10-second conversation. Dave Corrali and Anissa Nider. Anissa's here somewhere. When we started this conversation, it was a shot in the dark, and we needed their expertise to come in the beginning and kind of walk us through how we got the process started and determine if it was even feasible. And without them, we wouldn't have gotten to step 2, to be honest. Brock Builders, Brian Brock and his team, they were our general contractors. Danny, Jacob, and Nancy, my team here. My wife, Beth, and daughter, Stella and Vivian. They have kind of already gotten used to me having to run up here at different times of the day and night. And my daughters love it because they come in and hit golf balls in the back, and Vivian thinks the Ryder Cup room is a movie theater, but I'll probably be spending more time away from them than I'd like to or they would like to. The Chamber for coming today. You know, we were hoping to be open by this point, but now we were able to kind of call it a sneak peek breakfast. So thank you for sticking with us, even though we weren't technically open, and bringing everybody in today. And then obviously, and most importantly, you know, you all for coming and for being a part of this event, and hopefully coming back and supporting us in the future when we get open. So I don't know. We talked about the simulators are open. They're turned on. They're running. If people want to hit some shots, feel free to go back and kind of play around on them. Danny and Jacob are back there. Nancy, myself will be here for a while if you wanted a kind of personal tour to walk through the space. And I think that's it. So thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you so much, Jonah. That was really a great overview, and we're excited. I think everyone's excited to be here. We appreciate that you opened your doors to us this morning. And again, I would encourage all of you to take a look around. But otherwise, thank you so much for spending your morning with us. Thank you again to First National and T-Mobile, and have a great rest of your day.